Welcome to Clutter Bravado.
Yes, and it's the energy. It's not just about the stuff.
So we should probably just get into it, right?
Let's go.
Hello.
Good morning.
How are you?
Our Monday recording of an intro.
It does feel like it's been a long time though, because we were in Palm Springs, and then last week was probably one of the busiest weeks that we've had yet with Clutter Bravado.
Mm-hmm.
It's been kind of nuts, but honestly, I'm having a really good time.
It was fun. Last week was fun. I think Art Week was a big success in Los
Yes.
Angeles as a
Yes.
whole.
Is it Los Angeles Art Week, or is it just because Freeze is happening, then a lot of art events are happening?
I think it's considered Art Week because
Okay.
there was Felix that we went to
That's
at the
true.
Roosevelt Hotel,
Yeah.
which was, well, let's face it was a mixed bag, but it was fun. And the the setting is great.
Yes.
Some of the art was good. Some of it I don't understand. Freeze at the bar at Santa Monica Airport was a huge success.
Yeah.
Huge turnout. And I do believe that there was another art show at the convention center, which we skipped. Yeah. And then
okay.
all the events
Yeah.
throughout Future
Every
Perfect.
gallery. Yes. Future Perfect had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was actually really cool. It was really nice to see and to meet Nicole Hollis. So Nicole Hollis is a designer. She did the dining room at the home too. And she did a book signing there. And I have
on
her
Friday.
book, which is
Yeah.
really great. So I loved her, by the way. She's a San Francisco designer, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we should definitely get her on the show. She was fantastic. I really liked meeting her.
And then there was an event that there were so many events that we didn't get to.
There's so many. Yeah.
But Mash Gallery had an event at the PDC that we skipped. That art walk was great.
Yeah.
We went to Apparatus.
That was really cool.
Met Gabriel. I'd never met him.
Yeah,
So
and
that
there were
was
so
fun.
many people that we got to connect with too. A lot of people in our community and in the art community and artists and creatives of all kinds. It was really fun. But here's the thing about going to a lot of social events is that it's exhausting. And it's not just, okay, I love looking at art. I love looking at art. And I had a great time looking at art. And we spent like 2.5 hours at Felix. And I enjoyed myself. I truly, truly did. And I saw a lot of art that I was really inspired by. It's a lot. And then to have to later go socialize. After looking at art for 2.5 hours. Like, this is the most princess problems that I could possibly get.
Right, exactly.
I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. Like, what a life to be able to have to go look at art and then be able to see a bunch of people that I really care about. But it really does take it out of you. So this week, no events.
No events. No interviews either.
No interviews, no events this week. We're taking it easy and catching up with all the stuff that we've been doing. Because over Palm Springs Modernism, we did 7 interviews, I believe, 6 or 7 interviews. And then we've done one since then. And we still have about like 3 that need to, have a lot of like work to get done with them and everything. And I love this podcast and I love the work that we do. It really is work. It really is work. It's fun, but it's really work. And being a team of 2, being our own production company and editing and marketing and social media management and all of it all at once for 2 people.
It's a bit.
I think we're doing a really good job. Honestly, I think we're doing a really good job, especially considering the month of March ahead. So we're in the last week of February. We're taking this time to sort of just like buckle down, get all the things done that we need to, because March is going to be nuts.
Right. So let's shout out to all the showrooms in West Hollywood.
Yeah, the West Hollywood Design District.
Yeah. So they're going to do a pretty big event. Some cool lectures. Lots of friends are participating. Jamie Ray from Obsolete is doing something. Peter Gursky is going to be on one panel.
Yes, I'm excited about that. Yeah.
So it's going to be really fun. And all that spearheaded by Aspire and Joe Campbell Fuji. So I'm excited about that. We're going to definitely go there. We're still trying to figure out if we can have a couple interviews there.
We're going to make it happen.
We have only 1 week, but yeah. And then after that, we are going up to San Francisco.
We're going back to San Francisco. I like it up there, and we have a lot happening, and I'm very excited about Market Week in San Francisco. That's going to be so fun.
All that at the This Is a Use showroom.
Yes.
And so that's exciting.
I do want to gush a little bit about today's episode.
All right, you can, I think.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, you can.
Because we wanted to get this guest on so badly, and mostly me. Okay, so we've talked about this, how I was watching $1 Million Decorator because it's on Netflix, and I still haven't seen your episode. Don't take it personally. But
It's all right.
but one of the most important people on that show is who? Martyn Lawrence Bullard. So I knew about him before I got started with design. I knew about him when I was just working as an assistant. And then throughout the past few years, I've gotten to know him quite a bit. You've worked with him. I've met him once or twice. And I'm like, you know what? We got to get him on the show. We got to get him on the show. And we got him. We got him on the show. So we got to sit down at the Palm Springs Modernism show at our booth with Martyn Lawrence Bullard. And it's not that all of our guests aren't amazing. I love them so much. But when I tell you that the excitement that I had when I finally got to sit down and chat with him, I was like, oh, this is what I've been working up to. It's so fun. He's such a personality. He is such an interesting character. And he's someone that I loved talking to. I love watching him on TV. He's on everything. He's been on 1 million shows, right?
Several, yeah.
Several shows. He's worked with the biggest names in Hollywood and in music. And he has such a unique outlook on design too, where he's like, just do it. Just do what you want to do. And I feel like when in a world that cares so much about trends and what is and isn't okay and what someone will approve of, he's the person that's going to walk into the room and be like, this is cool because I say it is. And then it is. I love him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty. I mean, this episode, I'm really excited to share it. Also, on our Instagram, you'll see it. He gave us a little plug, and I'm going to share it on our Instagram. Am I too excited about this? Is this embarrassing?
No, it's a love story to, it's a love poem to Martyn.
It's a love poem to Martyn Lawrence Bullard.
You're completely entitled to it. And he's been, someone that has been a huge supporter of my company when I used to do antiques, and then, Kimberly Denman, and now the podcast. And he's been a very kind man, and I love him.
And he's fascinating. I have so much respect for people who are able to be entertainers and artists at the same time when it comes to design, where he can have his personality be incredible on camera, like be the drama that you want to see, and then also create an incredible room that you would never have put together on your own.
It's about right.
It's about right.
And, and he was... on a weekend where he was extremely busy because it was obviously a busy weekend in Martyn at the show with house tours and the show itself. And, I'm sure that there were a few people that were asking for his time, and he showed up and he made time for us. And
what
thanks,
a gift.
Martyn.
What a gift. Thank you, Martyn. So, do we have anything else we have to cover before we get started?
I think it was a busy intro with a lot.
We covered a lot. We did cover a lot. Wait, before we get into it. Are you good?
I'm excellent.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your life been like? Are you good?
Summer in LA already.
It is.
I'm like, work has been great.
Yes.
So the Kimberly Denman line has been doing really well.
Yeah, you've been really busy.
Yeah,
a lot of orders
busy,
coming in.
and
it's fantastic.
New things coming up, so that's been exciting. Look, we've had some guests that I don't know how to describe it. So far, all the guests that we've had on have been mostly people that I've known for a really long time. Mm-hmm. Now, Martyn is someone that I've known for 20 years, and the guest that we had on Friday is literally was one of my first clients when I started the business. So, someone that's dear to my heart, people that have supported me, changed my life. So it means a ton, that podcast.
Yeah.
Way more than way more than I thought when we started, you and I, and you were like, hey, can you help me? I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And ends up that I'm realizing that design community has meant a lot more to me than I ever would have imagined before. So it's I don't know how to say it, fulfilling, like feeling a creative thing in my life. It's cool. And doing it with you has been incredible. It's been fun. So yeah, it's all good.
It is good. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I love that you're enjoying doing this and that I wrangled you into it and it wasn't a mistake. Oh, I do want to plug one thing.
Oh, yeah.
This is personal. I'm going to get a little personal. Is that weird? Should I?
No, please do. It's a podcast. It needs to be personal.
Okay. I went on a podcast. I was a guest on my friend's podcast. It's called Club Soda. And it is a podcast about sober dating. So I don't talk about it very much on here, but like I don't drink and I've been sober for officially 9 years as of Saturday. And I went on her podcast and chatted about it and like what that's like. And also just about like, again, some pretty personal themes. Maybe I shouldn't be cross promoting it. This is very professional. It's not. We're fine. I did talk about some very personal things on there, but it's very entertaining. It's really fun. And Janique is amazing. Janique Mason, she started the Club Soda app, which is a dating app for sober people, for people who don't drink. And I think that's rad. She did ask me about my dating life, which I don't like to talk about very much at all. But yeah, it was a really great conversation. And so I highly recommend to check out Club Soda. It's really fun. And also she's just hilarious and great. And so she's just got started. So she just has a couple episodes, but go find her and also follow us. Please subscribe to us and on anything you can. Yeah, I think now we're ready. Should we go ahead and get to Martyn?
Let's go.
Welcome to Clutter Bravado. We are here with Martyn Bullard. Hi.
How fun to be here and at Modernism in the heart of Palm Springs in this extraordinary and exciting show. And to be with you, wonderful people.
And to be with you.
No better way to spend the day, let's face it.
We have been wanting so badly to have you on the show. I am a huge fan of yours. So I'm fairly new to design within 2 years. And you are someone I've known your name for decades.
Decades. Behave yourself. I'm not admitting to being anything over 21.
So I first want to know, how's your experience been so far with Modernism?
It's great. I've been on the board of Modernism before and sort of part of this whole thing. Palm Springs has kind of become part of my makeup, I guess you'd say, because I have a fabulous mid-century house here, which I use, at the weekends and things. And I really have a connection to Palm Springs. Not only do I love it for all of, obviously, the modernist architecture, there are amazing people here. There's fabulous artists, artisans, amazing food, and we've got culture here, which is so wonderful. So a little drive from LA, I live in LA, the hour and a half, 2 hours drive from LA, you enter a new zone, a zone of something that's not only very chilled, but also very creative. And so for me, I love that about Palm Springs. And of course, Modernism is a great weekend because it brings people from all over the world here. I mean, I've met people today from Tibet, from Paris, from Stuttgart. I mean, it's just been bonkers. It was like, there's people from everywhere. It's wild.
Yeah. So your style, I mean, I don't even need to talk. How do I even explain it? Besides, it is everything. It is everything. You're doing everything. You have incredible taste.
Thank you.
And my question for you is, how influential is the Palm Springs vibe, the mid-century atmosphere that exists here? How much does that influence your...
I love the whole mid-century feel. I'm a decorator who doesn't have a look. I mean, there are a lot of decorators that kind of have signatures. Yes. One look they kind of regurgitate for people. Maybe they use a few different colors, but it's kind of the same vibe. Yeah. That is not me. Okay. I like to restore 12th century castles. I want to do, discos in Beverly Hills underground for Cher. I want to do, I want to do everything.
Yes.
So the mid-century thing I love because I'm passionate about it, and again I have that great mid-century house, and I love a little bit of the 60s, 70s, and right now I'm also very into the 80s, which we've got lots of. Actually, at the show here in Palm Springs right now, there's a lot of kind of 80s Carl Springer and things. So I always find it inspirational. I always come away with something that's inspired me, whether it's the color of a flower, or the color of the sand as we drove past the desert, or the amazing sunset, or an incredible mid-century building, or a fantastic antique that you find in one of the many little, vintage markets that are all over the city. So there's always something to inspire you here.
You were earlier today at the Antiques Fair, correct?
I was at the Antiques Fair. I was actually at the flea market this morning. So the flea market here in Palm Springs is the first Sunday of every month.
Okay.
And there was a special one today for modernism.
For the modernism.
So there were 300 dealers there. People were from, all over the place. San Diego, there was actually even a dealer there from New York. So people have brought their wares from everywhere today for this kind of little market. And it's great because, you can buy, like I bought a little kind of pottery cup for $10. But I saw a diamond necklace for 10,000. So, there's a little bit of everything there, which is so great.
And that's the great thing about that flea market is that there's really just all kinds
everything.
of yeah,
all and everything.
Wow.
So that makes for sort of a fun thing.
It's also your roots, right? The
100%. I started out at the age of 12 on having a stall of my own on a flea market in London, kind of a vintage market. It was called Greenwich Antiques Market.
Okay.
Yeah. And so from 12, I would run around. I would use my little bit of allowance money, and I'd buy a little cup or a little silver spoon or something, and lay them all out on my stand. And as I always say, I was waiting for unsuspecting American tourists to spin a tale to and make a profit.
I mean,
It's in
what a way
honesty,
to start. Yeah.
it's really the way that I, got my education. Because even though I'm one of the largest award-winning designers in America, I've never had a day's training, if anything to do with this. I was trained as an actor, and so that hands-on, passion to make money, I guess, really initially, turned into this passion for the decorative arts. And more than anything, when you have a stall or a stand or a booth like in this fair, you learn how to get two pretty things and put them together and make them into something even more beautiful and something that people desire and want to buy. And that is the trick of an interior designer.
Do you think that that's the biggest influence for you as an interior designer, to use that experience?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, travel, obviously,
Right.
being European, like yourself, we are surrounded by so much beauty and so much heritage and so much history.
Right.
Obviously, we have a little less of that here in the United States, but that depth of background, the fact that I was very lucky to travel all over Europe with my parents as a kid, obviously a lot of that seeped into my sort of, mental awareness of the decorative arts and of beauty in general. But that real hands-on buying and selling and learning how to put it together to make it look appealing to the buyer. 100%. That's my training path.
It's an art, and it is a business. And
Yep.
we make money doing that.
Yep.
That's what we're here for. But there's also so much passion and create
Totally.
and having the eye and sharing your eye with it.
Totally.
When you first got started,
Yeah.
first client, were you afraid?
I'm still afraid. Listen, the greatest advice in life is to believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, somebody else is going to believe in you too. And so that's the trick of being a designer. Believe in what you do. If you want to put, tiger print with an orange pillow next to a bit of camo, and you love it, somebody else is going to love that too. But you got to believe in loving it. You can't be like, oh my God, did that work? Is it?
Yeah.
No. You're like, this looks so great. And then you're going to go, oh my God, yeah, it does look great. That's the trick to it.
Yeah.
And so I think I've always known that in a way. Again, probably from working on those stalls and selling all that stuff, that if you are passionate about what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing and you believe in who you are, then other people are going to love it too. And I think that's what happened for me, at the beginning of my career. I mean, I had a very lucky beginning of my career. My first real client was a lady called Cheryl Teagues, who was the world's first ever supermodel.
Yes. Oh,
And, an American icon.
yes.
And she was my first client. And within 9 months of doing that job, that house was on the cover of 6 magazines around the world, and my career was born. And within a year, I had Edward Norton, Sigourney Weaver, Rebecca Romaine Stamos, and Christina Aguilera. Within my first year, I was 24 years old. So, yeah, it's been, and here we are. We're 32 years into this career at this point. And, it's been unbelievable.
And it's still skyrocketing.
Still going. I mean, now, now it's changed somewhat. Obviously, I've got the introduction of being on television, having had all my own shows. I mean, I'm on Housewives of Beverly Hills this season.
I've seen it, yeah.
And a lot more to come. Stay for the reveals.
I'm so excited.
And so there's also, I have 17 product lines.
Yeah.
So this year we have a new collection with the Shade Store.
Okay.
I have an amazing collection with Ruggable of washable rugs, which are wildly affordable, like $500 for these beautiful designer rugs. And then I have a collection with a company called Addison Ross, which is this sort of beautiful kind of dinnerware, tableware, placemats and things. Super reasonable, fabulous.
And that you're so good at. I love when you design your
Thank
tables.
you.
Yeah,
It's
I
really,
love it.
it's really been fun.
Right.
And I have a wood flooring company called Du Chateau that I've done designer, wide plank designer floors in colours that were usually just kind of exclusively sort of to the trade. And we're selling them to the public at half the price.
Oh, really?
So it's wonderful that I'm now being able to go directly to my fan base, directly to designers across the rest of the country that are working with their clients, and bringing really great product, really cool design, things that I use in my own products, in my own projects rather, that I'm able to bring to people at a great price and with real accessibility. And that's the way the world is moving,
Right.
Because we can go on our phones right now and we can buy something in India and in Morocco and in, London, and it'll all be here in 3 days. So if you can do that on your phone, you need to be able to understand that product as a product designer, we have to design product that is accessible, available, and not just to the trade, but also to the public, because they're thirsty for beauty.
And also thirsty for quality, too.
Absolutely.
So that they know that what they're buying is something that they can really trust.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and something that we talk about a lot on the show is how important it is to experience showrooms for designers especially, to be able to get the knowledge of how something feels, of what it feels like to sit in a chair before going to the client so the client knows what they can expect.
Yeah.
And for someone who's just doing things at home, like when they're just ordering something because that's what's available to them, they need to know that it's really good quality.
Listen, quality is everything.
Yeah.
So whether it's $5 or $500, you have to have quality. And that's the one thing that I've really, with all of my licenses, even the very, very high-end ones like Christofle and Havilland Limoges and all those major brands that I design for, we know the quality's there, but even in the less quality one, in the lesser priced ones, we have maintained an amazing level of quality and high design, and that to me is so important. So, you can't stay on top of your game if you're not on top of the quality.
And what I love is that you're bringing the design to a level where people are, needed, like we had, in the 60s, 70s, 80s in France, and we had gone away a little bit with that, and you are spearheading that movement, and that's exciting.
It's been great. Listen, it's great, and the greatest compliment of all is that people want to buy something you've designed. And then you see them on Instagram post it the way they've used it. It's fantastic. I'm like, oh my God, they're so clever. I would never have thought to use it like that. It's brilliant. I just love it. Yeah.
Do you feel that there are any drawbacks to being a celebrity designer?
Oh, it's great. I mean, listen, it's so great. How fabulous to have gotten all this recognition, over these years, that people love what you do.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing.
Yes.
Again, I have never had any formal training. So, I sort of always say I tripped up into this career. And I think because my base has always been Hollywood, I've managed to have this extraordinary, unbelievable actually, roster of clients, icons. Elton John and Cher and, sort of modern day figures like, the Kardashians and, I'm working with Pink and, amazing people that I find to be iconic.
Right.
That I'm actually working with. It's crazy. I'll never forget the day that Diana Ross called me up to go and see her house. I love Diana Ross.
Who doesn't
because
love Diana Ross?
there ain't no mountain high enough. And so, when that happens, you're like, what is going on? I've come from a flea market in London. Here I am with the diva of all divas.
Yes.
Do you feel like the personalities can sometimes be a bit of a challenge, or do you feel like they trust?
I love experiencing people's personalities. Because if you don't know somebody, if you don't get to know them, you don't know who they are, you don't understand their facets, how can you possibly create a home for them?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a home is a personal enclave, it is a sanctuary. And so I always design for my clients in a way that is them. I don't want you to walk into Cher's house and go, oh, this is a Martyn Lawrence Bullard house. I want you to walk in and go, oh God, this house is so you.
Yes. Yes.
And that is the trick to great design, and that is the trick to a designer being able to have a longevitous career, is to get an understanding of their clients, is to get into their heads and be able to make their decorative fantasies a reality.
Is there a specific style of design that you draw back from it? You're like, oh no, absolutely.
In the past I would have maybe said so, but as I'm getting older, I've realized that, sometimes I've gone, oh my God, I hate that, it's hideous. And next thing you know, I'm buying it. So
we after a certain amount of years, we're like, yeah, no, I won't say anything anymore.
I was like, I remember as a kid in my parents' house in London, they had banana yellow leather hanging chaises. And I used to think, this is so embarrassing, I can't have my friends come over. The hell, this is just bonkers. I would die to have those now.
I'm
Like they would have
Trying
been,
to
they would have been
picture
the hit of this show.
Yes.
These amazing Desade hanging yellow leather hassocks. Divine. So you know what I mean? So I never say never now.
Did you get a sense of style from your parents? Do you feel like they influenced you?
Yeah, I think so. My dad, early in his life, was an actor and an opera singer, and so there was this great flavour of theatricality going on always. And my mum, our living room. It's funny, I was in London 2 weeks ago, at Design London, an event, and we went to, I think it was Sanderson, yes, to Sanderson's factory, which is one of the oldest fabric houses in London, and they have the archive of William Morris.
Oh, wow.
And so they gave me a private tour of the archive, and I told the lady, oh my God, I said, when I grew up, I remember in the early 80s when my parents redecorated their house, they had a black Sanderson chintz fabric. It was a black background with pink and teal roses all over it. And my mum used it for the curtains, the sofas, everything was covered in this fabric. It was everything.
Yeah.
And again, at the time I was like, what the hell are they smoking? But of course now, it is the height of fashion.
Yeah.
Younger people, for instance, like a Taylor Swift, is wild about these chintzes, and particularly these kind of like dramatic tones. And so it's amazing that all that has come back again. And they found it in the archive for me. They dug it out.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh.
It was amazing to have that sort of, reference back to my childhood.
I loved that. Like the house that I grew up in wasn't anything very fancy. I grew up in the Midwest, in Wisconsin, and there were a few things that my parents had that I just could not stand. That now I look back at, they have this beautiful bookcase that I really loved that was always in the living room. My mom would be like rearranging them in our living room constantly, and she would always like have that as being like the centerpiece of everything. And for the longest time, like I feel like we should just throw that out. That should just that needs to disappear. But now looking at it, because they still have it, and now I'll go back and look at it and I see it with different eyes.
Yeah.
And so as things sort of change in society and in the general taste and the trends and things that are happening, but also the way that I'm sort of developing an appreciation for things that are really well made, that can last for that long, that have real that weight to them, not just.
There's nothing more sustainable than antique and vintage furniture,
It's
right? In our very disposable world, there's something quite wonderful about, again, being a vintage fair.
Yeah.
And being able to buy something that somebody else has not only loved, but you're about to love. There's value to it, and possibly an increase in value to it, but you're also helping save a tree or you know what I mean?
Exactly.
We're saving the planet
We
somehow.
have enough stuff.
Yeah.
And I think
Actually,
it gives-
we really were just saving the antique dealers, giving them some money for their pockets. But
and we, boy, we need it.
Oh my goodness. But,
I love you. Okay,
Thank
so let's
you.
just put that out there. And I recently did a binge watch of the seasons of $1 Million Decorator that are
oh my God, that's hilarious.
Netflix now.
Yes.
How does it feel to have those resurging? Like, what is the experience of? Have you?
It's so funny. I did watch one the other day. Yeah, I did, because somebody said to me, "Oh, I can't believe you did it." And I watched it, and I was like, "Oh my God, what happened to me? I used to have black hair." It's great. It was so fun to do that show because, you know, we were the first real design reality show that was real.
Yeah.
It wasn't all made up. It was actually real happening with real clients. You know, I had the Osbournes on there, and I had, we had Lindsay Lohan, all these people.
Yeah.
They were real clients that were on those shows with us, and it was real scenarios.
And 4 friends doing it too.
And 4 friends, and like my
Yeah.
mad friend Catherine Ireland, always drunk and hilarious, and Divine on there. We had the biggest laugh always, and Mary McDonald, who I do. I mean, it was just great. It was a camaraderie. It was a mad, wonderful moment. Shocking to think that we filmed the last one of those 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like a decade ago. Where did that time
Right.
go?
So when are you getting your own show again?
Well, you know, I've had a bunch of shows since.
Yeah.
I did Material World.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of different things since, and you know, and I often will go on and guest star on things like RuPaul's Drag Race and
Yes.
fun stuff like
Yes.
that. Obviously, right now on Housewives.
Housewives.
But we have a couple of shows in the works right now. We had one that was supposed to go out last year, and then with the strikes and then everything else that happened, it got postponed. But I think we're going to pick that back up in March. So it takes a lot of time.
It does.
And when you have I have a big office running and 20 clients all over the world, it's not the easiest thing to fit in filming.
Absolutely.
But I do love it,
Yeah.
and it is a great way for people to be introduced to you. And again, as a product designer, it's a wonderful way to expose product and who you are and what's happening. And so, no, it's a wonderful platform, and I've been so lucky with that too. I mean, I've had a lot of fun.
And you're made for it. You're just so entertaining.
Well, thank you.
We love watching you, but also everything that you create.
Thank you.
So I know that you have a very busy day.
I do. I've got this weekend is like 3 weeks.
Yes. It's been the same
I mean,
for us, honestly. I was looking back
I had
at
like
the
a
things we
I had like a
recorded
breakfast
yesterday.
and a flea market and a brunch and a house tour and a podcast and another house tour and another. I'm like, what is happening? I was supposed to have a relaxing, weekend.
The leisurely weekend
Next-
in Palm Springs turned into, the busiest.
And then my account keeps calling me going, there's a really strange charge on American Express. Oh, don't worry about that.
So I want to wrap up with the 3 questions that we've been asking all of our guests, and I'm very curious what your answers are going to be. So the first one that we ask every guest on our podcast, not just in Palm Springs, is what is the messiest place in your home?
Wow. I'm pretty tidy, to be honest, because, there's so much going on in the world that I like to kind of keep everything tidy. I mean, I guess probably the one area that ends up being untidy is probably in my closet a little bit,
Okay.
but not for long. Not for long.
Those shoes are going back where they belong.
It does.
Right away.
It might happen when I come in at a couple of gin and tonics or something and it's all got a bit haywire, but it gets cleaned up in the morning.
I like it. So a little closet. That's fine. It's fine. Okay. Second question. Is there something specific that you've been looking for here at Palm Springs Waters and Show?
Well, other than the bargain.
I think it's good.
That's fine.
I think if you come thinking, I need a brass coffee table and a bronze lamp, whatever, you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
I mean, unless you're here because we have a brass cup.
Well, it's gorgeous. But, so in fact, I do actually like that brass table. But the reality is that, I've bought probably 20 things, and I needed one of them. But now I've realized I need the other 19 too. Or someone in my life does.
You can create a need.
I know.
Absolutely.
And I think you're so right.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
Last question.
Go on.
What is your wildest Palm Springs holiday experience?
Oh my God! So one year I threw the Modernism Gala at my house. You know, my house was built in 1962. It's a James McNaughton. It's now a historical American landmark, and it was the home of Roger Moore, one of the James Bonds, and then Hugh Hefner lived there. And so anyways, it's got all this crazy. Anyway, so I had this party, and at the time I was working with Cindy Crawford and Randy Gerber, who own Casamigos. You know, they're tequila.
Oh, really?
And so they sponsored the tequila and everything. So we had all these tequila bars and mariachis, and people got totally shit-faced. Like there was an 80-year-old woman, she kind of felt, she was in like big sort of like sparkly muumuu. She was literally 80, wandering around. Next thing she was in the pool. I thought she was drowning. She dove in because she wanted to prove that she'd once been in an Esther Williams, water movie or something in the 1940s. They had to drag her out. She looked like a rat. All these pink feathers were everywhere. And then at the end of the night, we found 3 naked women in my bathtub.
Found?
They were. Yes, in the bathtub.
Yeah, just
drinking martinis, naked in my bathtub.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful discovery.
You never know what you're going to find in your bathroom in Palm Springs.
It was Hugh Hefner. There was the ghost of Hugh Hefner.
They were reviving the whole
They
thing.
were the whole thing.
I do. One of my great stories in my house is that I was having dinner with Joan Collins one night, and I told her about my house. She went to me, "Oh, darling, I remember swimming naked in that pool."
I know if that pool could talk. My God, I've been to your place once, and I was looking at it. I'm like, I could see Roger Moore just step out of that pool, being like,
Oh, yes.
he was there
Oh, yes.
in my mind.
They're great.
I know.
This was so fun talking to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for sitting down
Of
with us. I hope
course.
we have the opportunity to do one at the showroom
For
so we can get a
sure.
little bit more in depth.
For sure.
This is such a delight.
And we're called Clutter Bravado. Ladies and gentlemen, Clutter Bravado. This is your new podcast. A must listen, a must see, and a must everything else.
The link, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I
you so
adore
much.
you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.